Hey everyone, what's happening? So just a quick one from me today. I think most of you will have seen the FA, after what was borderline a piss-take amount of time, finally came to the conclusion in the Roberto Firmino Holgate racism allegations that there was no evidence to back up Mason Holgate's claim that he had been racially abused by the Brazilian. Great, fine, all things being told for both players, I think they'll be happy to put this behind them and move on with the season, particularly, I guess, Roberto Firmino, for whom, you know, he has protested his innocence. We now know that there was no evidence to suggest he'd done anything wrong, and now he can get on with that. He doesn't have that cloud hanging over his head. What I've not liked off the back of this, though, is how and I feel this is a little bit of what football does wrong and football fandom does wrong, and how rivalries and football rivalries have crept into something that I think is something that transcends football rivalry. And we're starting to see people slagging off Mason Holgate for this and calling for him to be sanctioned, calling for him to be hung, drawn and quartered effectively for making false allegations. Now, my problem with this is that, look, if someone has got malicious intent, someone is maliciously intending on ruining someone's career, then look, we'd love to see the book thrown at them. And I think what's happened to exacerbate this is you've got the incident in the match where he pushes Firmino over the advertising hoardings. He could be seriously injured there, and I think people have used that as a little bit of a case to add towards the character assassination of Mason Holgate. None of this sits very comfortably with me, if I'm perfectly honest. Look, from a pure football perspective, you want to know that your players, your footballers are doing no wrong and they're fit and available to play football at a very, very simple level. But I've seen people really taking Holgate to task. I've seen memes, I've seen graphics, I've seen lots of angry comments and words said about him, as though he's a liar and he's been malicious in his attempts to hurt Roberto Firmino and his career. And personally, I can't help but feel that you need to take Holgate at face value on this. You know, I think naturally as fans, we want to see our opponents and our rivals as the bad guys in this thing, but if anything, these FA findings, and it's rare that I will give the FA any credit for anything that they do, they've taken the time to find the correct answer out. They haven't simply gone on word of mouth. And for me, that should be enough for everyone to say, okay, listen, it seems likely that Mason Holgate, in reality, has misheard or misinterpreted something. And that shouldn't be seen as a criticism on Mason Holgate, because look, if he feels as though he's heard something, if you hear something, we've all done this. We've all misheard and misinterpreted things ourselves in the past. We've all, I'm sure, entered into arguments or been riled up by things that have either later been disproved to us, or we've probably carried with us for a lot longer than we should have done had we heard it correctly in the first place. That's just how we are as human beings. If Holgate feels he's heard something, then what's the difference in his mind to actually being racially abused? Because in his mind, he has been racially abused. He's fully within his rights to try and take that further, to be aggrieved by that. That's fine. Now, what we'll see, we'll be able to get a true understanding of this in the days, weeks and months that follow. If he continues to press this, if he is absolutely certain and wants to continue to press it. I don't know what the protocol is for that, but I think we can make a clearer judgment on that. But I see no sense in looking to castigate a player like that. What we do not want to see in this country, in life, but in football, because football is, you know, largely terrible in that regard, we don't want to see footballers, whether they're young, old, black, white, any colour, creed or religion, feel as though they cannot come forward when they have been abused or feel they have been abused for fear of reprisals if those happen to be unfounded allegations. Now, we don't want a world where anyone can throw around allegations willy-nilly and get away with them, but that in some regards, again, to give the FA credit, is the beauty of what they've done there. They have taken the time to completely prove to the best of their ability that nothing wrong was done or said, which I think helps to set a positive precedent going forward. So look, ultimately, I think everyone hopefully should be able to move on from it. I hope Mason Holgate doesn't get too much abuse, and I hope any abuse that he does receive, because look, this is the internet. There is a mass culture of people just calling people dickheads, and football is amongst the worst for it because, again, deep-seated emotional rivalries. We seem to forget that people are human beings. Sometimes we seem to think this is a more sporting version of WWE sometimes. Good versus evil, when it's not. It's two fellas, it's two people who've been embroiled on an incident, and it looks like wrongly so. Let them both move on with it. And as I say, let's make sure that we maintain a culture where people do feel comfortable, if they have been abused, in being able to seek out justice, retribution, or whatever without being nailed because maybe their perceptions were just a little bit off on that incident. Anyway, listen, just my thought. For what it's worth, I genuinely can't comment too much on the individual racism side of things, but on a bare level, let's just let both lads get on with it. Let them get on with their lives. And if any evidence comes further down the line about Roberto Firmino and it turns out that he has done, let's absolutely throw the book at him. If it turns out that Mason Holgate has been malicious in his attempts to slur the reputation of Roberto Firmino, then let's throw the book at him. But there is no evidence that any of that's happened. It's more than likely simply just a misunderstanding. Let them get on with it and let's all get on with our lives and focus on the football. Yeah? Yeah. Anyway, listen, drop a like on the video. If you can, subscribe to the channel as well. It's flying. Really pleased how things are going. But yeah, leave us your thoughts on the whole situation. If you've seen anything that you found a bit distasteful in all of this, let me know about it in the comments. We'll have a little bit of a chat. Nice one.